Why is it Jesus is always shown in a vagina? Early Christianity always show you this artwork. The vagina is a portal into the material world. The vagina is a symbol of birth. Jesus dies and he is born again. The Bible says you must be born again to see the kingdom of God. To be born again is not talking about reincarnation. To be reborn again is a spiritual process all of the ancients had to do in order to gain higher consciousness. It's talking about the rebirth of your mind. To see the kingdom of God, we have to be born again and destroy our lower self. Your heart generates your reality. The heart is the care, and you only act and generate reality on what you care about. You care about living in a home, so you take the actions to generate money to pay the bills. To be reborn again, we have to let go and remove all of the desire and care for the material world and the lower mind. Give our heart to the spiritual things such as knowledge, God, and spirit. Because heaven is not a place you go after death. The state of consciousness your mind operates from, and so is hell. You have to let go of the ego, the identifying with the body, the name, the job, the desire for status, money, and fame, and give our heart and desire to God and spirit. Then you will be reborn again and you will achieve higher consciousness. The vagina is a symbol of spiritual rebirth. It's quite scary when you realize the reason why certain songs get stuck in your head. This is because music is a form of magic. The word music literally says me, you, sick. It makes you sick. Mentally, physically, emotionally. The reason you can't get certain songs out your head is because of this terrifying reason. It's because your subconscious responds to patterns. The repetitive beats, the repetitive words and choruses help create a pattern that the subconscious responds to. It invokes an emotion with the beat, and the stronger the emotion you feel, the more it deeply impresses your subconscious mind, making you remember the lyrics. Don't you think it's strange how you can't remember what you did yesterday fully, but you can remember a song you listened to years ago? That's because it deeply impresses your subconscious mind and literally becomes an aspect of you. If you're listening to drugs, sex, alcohol, and partying music, them words are going to be impressed into your subconsciousness and become a part of you. You're going to unknowingly start to think, act, and feel to do party, drugs, sex, and all the things that the music is talking about. Music is a powerful spiritual tool, and it can be used to destroy your mind or uplift your mind into higher states of awareness. Now you know the reason why these rappers are paid millions, because in the eyes of the elites, they're using these people as not as artists, but as dark magicians to plant messages into the collective consciousness. Keep them stuck worshipping money, the material world, and stuck in a low base consciousness and a low frequency. Word of the day is use music as a spiritual tool to uplift you and not trap your mind in base material consciousness. Do animals possess consciousness? Now this will blow your mind. Keep watching. University carried out this experiment by placing paint on an orangutan's head and then showing it a mirror. What the orangutan does next is quite shocking. When the orangutan looks in the mirror, it recognizes himself and even tries to wipe off the paint on his forehead, proving that the orangutan does have self-awareness. But this is what's mind-blowing. Animals only have a one-way consciousness, meaning they're only aware of their five senses and their survival instincts. The animal's thought, emotion, and action is all directed towards survival instinct. But this is why you are so powerful, because humans possess a two-way consciousness. A two-way consciousness means you do have an animal nature where you can only be aware of your survival instincts. However, you can overcome the animal instincts and urges and reach a divine nature. You can look in the mirror, question, who am I? Where do I come from? Where am I going after this? And actually go within yourself and solve these life mysteries yourself. Human consciousness has the ability to explore beyond the five senses. These five senses are limited to the material world, but your conscious mind has the ability to go within and explore the astral plane, the mental plane, and the higher dimensions of consciousness. This is what the Bible means by you are made in the image of God. Your consciousness holds the ability to understand everything about the universe. Plus, you can direct your consciousness, your thought, emotion, action towards things that are highly creative. Animals cannot astral project. Animals cannot go within themselves and lucid dream. These are abilities given to humans.
Do you think men should lead women?
No, let me explain. The masculine is outward expression, willpower, action, and movement. The feminine is inward expression, emotion, feeling, and the inner knowingness of good and evil. But the elites have twisted this balance. Today, men are told to lead completely, while women are told to remain silent. This is false. For action without guidance becomes blind, and blind action only leads to destruction, war, chaos, and division. Exactly what we see in the world today. True leadership requires harmony. The masculine provides action, the feminine provides direction. Emotion is not weakness, it is intelligence. It is a compass of the heart. It is the silent voice within that knows what is right and wrong without being told. This is our moral compass, our inner spirit guide. Therefore, men should not lead alone. Women must give guidance to ensure that masculine action is rooted in care, love, and truth. For action without care destroys, but action guided by care creates. Even the brain reveals this truth. The right brain, the feminine, sees holistically the entire forest at once. The left brain, the masculine, then dissects it into trees, branches, leaves, so it can be understood and shaped. The feminine comes first, the masculine follows. This is the divine order. Your body shows it, and this is how consciousness operates. Masculine action needs to be guided through the feminine Freemasons wisdom.
Wear this symbol, also known as the Masonic square and compass. What does it actually mean?
On the top, we have the compass, which creates circles. Below, we have the tool of a square used to create lines and squares. This is not talking about geometry.
This is an allegory.
The surface area of a square can easily be measured, symbolizing matter, the material world, what can be measured. However, the surface area of a circle cannot be measured to an accurate number. It's impossible. Compass represents the circle, which cannot be measured, symbolizing the spiritual forces of the mind and consciousness.
Compass is on top of the square. The spiritual that cannot be measured is ruling over what can be measured. Spiritual over the material, the immeasurable over the measurable, symbolizing the forces of the mind ruling over the material body.
Most people live in the opposite. Their material body rules their mind, their thoughts, their actions. This is what we call base consciousness. Freemasons acknowledge that we live in a mental universe. Everything is crystallized thought. Mind is the cause, external reality is the effect.
Compass over the square
Teaches your mind to be ruling over your body. Invisible, internal, ruling over the external, visible. This is how you become a conscious creator, instead of reacting to the world and living in continuous cycles of negativity. Most people are creating unconsciously. Unfortunately, it is now the end of summer and we're moving into the autumn time. Here's everything you need to know to grow spiritually and use the seasons to your advantage. Best thing you can ever understand is as above, so below. A daily cycle is a small version of a yearly cycle. 6 a.m. is spring when the sun rises. 12 noon midday is the summertime. 6 p.m. when the sun sets is the autumn time. Midnight is the winter time when it's dark. Daytime is the summer. Winter time is the nighttime. Universe exists in fractals. As above, so below. The big mirrored in the small. God's consciousness is the big. Your consciousness is the small. Same mind God used to manifest and think everything into existence, such as the earth, the stars, and everything in nature, is the same mind you use to think your reality into existence. As above, so below. You are the universe. The body is a microcosm, a miniature world mirroring the larger universe. Cycles of the sun, day and night, winter, summer, are the same cycles that happen within your mind and consciousness. Cycles of the sun change the earth, day and night, summer and winter, but the cycles of the sun also change within you, your consciousness. The daytime is outward expression with the physical body. The nighttime is internal expression with the spiritual body. You have a person outside the mind, the physical body, and you have a person inside the mind, the spiritual. Dreams take place in the spiritual, external world takes place in the physical.
Now that it's changing into the autumn and we're going to be going into the winter time is associated more with the spiritual internal world. The sun's electromagnetic rays are weaker during the winter, which produces less brain activity and less brain waves, making you more connected to your internal spiritual self. It's easier to have astral projections, lucid dreams, and mystical experiences in the wintertime because of this. The wintertime is the inhale of the universe, the summer is the exhale. Use the wintertime to work on your internal world as you are inside your house more and you can work inside your mind more. This is how you sync your consciousness with the cycles of the heavens. This is what all the ancients did. With that being said, I'm Harry B. Joseph. Make sure to drop a follow. And this is called the Book of Wisdom in my bio.
Why is it Freemasons use this symbol? See this on Drake's album cover. They represent division. Consciousness expresses itself in two ways. Masculine energy of consciousness, symbolized as the sun, and feminine forces of consciousness with the moon. They represent the two polar extremes of consciousness. The masculine side of consciousness is willpower, actions, and thinking. The feminine side of consciousness is emotion, imagination, and intuition. These two pillars are seen at the entrance of the Temple of Solomon. The Temple of Solomon is you, Sol meaning the sun, masculine, and Mon meaning the moon, feminine. These two pillars represent the doorway into the self, so that we can reach a higher consciousness by understanding our internal world. Represent extreme division, and the Mason's job is to unify these two extremes of consciousness and meet in the middle. This is why you always see people standing in the middle of the two pillars. The person in the middle is the initiate who is entered into the mystery school. They are the person who are balancing the forces of consciousness in order to reach a higher understanding. In a negative context, this symbol represents extreme division. It also represents the number 11. It's terrifying when you figure out the reason why alcohol is given to us on such a mass scale and so easily accessible. The word alcohol comes from Arabic, which translates from alcohol to alcohol, meaning body eating spirit. The modern day for alcohol in Arabic is al-ghul, which means demon. This is why a specific alcoholic beverage called a gin is also the same word for a spiritual entity on the astral plane called a jinn with a J. Jinn is a negative energy form within the astral plane. What's even more terrifying is that alcohol is basically a potion. Witchcraft and magic never disappeared from the ancient times. It's still active and used today, yet people are just not aware. A potion is something that changes the consciousness of an individual. When you drink alcohol, each alcohol type is a different potion invoking a different feeling or spirit. Vodka is also called a spirit, a type of alcohol. And vodka is a potion of aggressiveness. Whiskey tends to induce confidence and drowsiness. Wine invokes the feeling of lust and euphoria. Each alcohol is a different potion invoking a different modality of consciousness within the body. Alcohol is a potion that invokes spirits into the body, but a spirit is not some entity. The astral plane is the form of energies, and when you take certain potions, it can invoke the spirit into you, which is just an energy form, which is simply just an emotion. An emotion is a spirit that drives the physical body to take action. If you drink lots of vodka, that will invoke the energy of aggressiveness within your heart and produce that emotion, and you will act that out. Possessed by spirits is possessed by energy forms, which is simply just your emotions. If you want to kill brain cells, reduce the amount of oxygen that reaches your brain, and lower your consciousness, then drink alcohol.